They will not be allowed to stand. These were the words of Prime Minister Andrew Holness in Parliament on Wednesday afternoon regarding the illegally captured lands in Bernard Lodge. True to his word, today police officials are demolishing the structures that were erected on these lands. The operation, which began after 6 a.m. on Thursday morning, saw unoccupied and unfinished houses being demolished by large machinery.
The operation began shortly after 6 o'clock, maybe about 6:30 or thereabouts. Varying forms of manual and machine labor engaged in the process, being very careful and respectful of people's personal space, etc.
Subsequently, blockades were erected to cordon off the affected area, forcing scores of motorists to turn back and take alternate routes. One inconsolable victim of the demolition said she now has no clue what her next steps will be, as she spent her last $800,000 on the lot she was building on.
Give me TRN and my ID and they sign up the receipt give me. They sign up the receipt give me. Nobody not give me no look one, no look nothing they not give me. No, I thought me just a pause and so I tell me so they like down the plane. Me just have to hurry for go work. I see that hurry for go work. I change it and me go work in the mountain because I don't have it come here see if it belongs and such. So I don't know what to do.
JCF communications strategist Dennis Brooks said though the operation is being undertaken by the Sugar Company of Jamaica Holdings, the police alongside the Jamaica Defence Force were present to keep the peace.
It's an operation that is being conducted by the Sugar Company of Jamaica. We as law enforcement are merely here based on our assessment of the space, our assessment of the situation. We're here just to provide the security necessary for the workmen to do their operation. 30 construction projects have been underway at various stages of completion. My information is that not all of them were set for demolition today. Our information is that unoccupied, unfinished homes were to be demolished today. Again, there are homes that are occupied that are not the subject of this process. There are homes that are not occupied, but they are near completion. They are not the subject of this process either. But the details of that, you'd have to speak to the relevant authorities. There's been no resistance today. There have been persons voicing their displeasure. There have been persons expressing their frustration, their anger, varying ranges of emotion. And again, from our perspective, we can only empathize with them and the emotions that they've expressed.
Mid-demolition, there were murmurs that some homes of residents with letters authorizing use of the captured lands were also being knocked down.
I was made aware of the intended efforts for persons who are in authorized, unauthorized areas, and I presume any due process would be pursued. I've heard some things to the contrary this morning, which I've raised with the Prime Minister and SCJ, and I'm advised that they're going to be limited operation pending verification of those things which have been brought to my attention.
What are some of the things that you heard?
That some of the persons in the areas to be demolished have letters of possession and therefore would have been authorized to be there. But I've been told just this morning that there are some persons who are being affected that have been given letter of possession. And I've brought that to the attention of the authorities, and I've been told that there will be a 48-hour stay in any action against those areas occupied by those persons, which would include those unfinished houses, until the documentation to substantiate it is brought forward. No lands were supposed to be sold by anybody. Anybody there would have bought those lands illegally. SCJ is the agency that I've been involved with. So if there's an illegal transaction that has happened outside of me, persons would approach me, private individual business people, and want land to acquire lands for residents, and I direct them to the relevant authorities.
After receiving confirmation from MP Jackson, Managing Director of the SCJ, Joseph Shuker, said demolition was halted to rectify the matter.
We have put a hold on all further demolitions, allowing all persons with such letters to bring them into us.
Have you received any of those letters thus far?
Not yet, but the Member of Parliament has advised me of at least one. But that person's house has not been demolished. But there are two sets of houses, okay? There is a set of houses that was constructed in the middle of the farmland. And then there are a much greater number nearer to the existing community. It is the ones that were in the farmland that were dealt with today, not the ones nearer the community. And it is the ones nearer the community where such persons are likely to be.
Can you give me the number of houses that were demolished overall?
10 out of 30.
How many of the 30 identified houses are unoccupied and unfinished?
Most of them are unoccupied. I would say 80% of them.